everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep today
Oh, yeah?
into education and career paths.
Right.
We've got 3 sources lined up for you today.
Mm-hmm.
Career Post-Secondary Counseling Expectations,
Okay.
Pathways to Success Overview,
Right.
and Pathway Projects, a guide.
Interesting.
And one of them suggests that by the time you're 42,
Okay.
you could have had over 10 jobs.
Wow, that's
That's a lot of changes, right?
You
So
know.
we're going to unpack these sources
Yep.
and figure out how you can be prepared for the future.
Well, one thing that really stands out to me
Yeah.
is this focus on individualized learning plans and starting in 9th grade.
9th grade.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that a little early to be thinking about your career?
It might seem early, but
Yeah.
the idea is to build that foundation,
Okay.
Career post-secondary counseling expectations.
Yeah.
Uses these career clusters to help students explore.
Career clusters.
Yeah, like broad areas of interest.
Yeah. Oh, so instead of saying, like, I want to be a veterinarian,
Exactly.
they'd explore, like, the health science field.
Yeah, exactly. And as students go through high school,
Okay.
this document actually suggests specific actions each year. Like by 12th grade, you should have completed 3 college applications.
Okay.
You should have taken a college entrance exam,
Uh-huh.
maybe even explored dual credit opportunities.
That sounds really structured.
It does. It's definitely
Yeah.
geared toward providing a clear roadmap.
Okay, so structure.
Yeah.
Benchmarks for success.
Yeah.
Okay. But pathways to success overview
Yeah.
seems to take a much broader approach,
Right.
like connecting education to a bigger purpose,
You got it.
not just checking boxes.
Right.
So what are they emphasizing?
Discover, explore, create. And there are 4 distinct stages.
Okay, tell me about the stages.
Okay. The self as innovator.
Right.
Innovation in a context.
Mm-hmm.
Innovation in research.
Okay.
Innovation for the future.
So encouraging students to be problem solvers.
In a world that's constantly evolving.
Okay, break it down for me.
So self as innovator,
Yeah.
students identify strengths, passions, and values.
So like self-awareness.
Exactly. Then innovation in a context.
Okay.
You start applying those strengths to real challenges,
So not just learning theory.
right?
Yeah.
They're using their knowledge
Totally.
to tackle problems.
That makes sense.
Then you've got innovation in research.
Mm-hmm.
Dive deeper into those areas of interest.
Okay.
Like imagine a student's fascinated by renewable energy.
Okay.
They could design and test a small-scale solar panel system.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and then there's innovation for the future.
So are they predicting the jobs of the future?
Not necessarily predicting, but anticipating,
Okay.
developing adaptability and critical thinking.
So less about specific skills,
Yeah.
more about mindset.
Exactly.
So it's really about,
Self-directed learning skills.
those are crucial.
They are.
And that brings us to pathway projects, putting these ideas into action.
Yeah, Pathway Projects has 4 key components.
Oh, I think I'm listening.
Research, write, produce, and present advocate.
Project-based learning.
It is, and they
Yeah.
emphasize
Yeah.
self-directed learning.
They even have a section called,
Why Pathways
Yeah.
supports our self-directed skills.
so why are these skills so important?
They're digging into how much the workforce has changed
Mhm.
and continues to change.
Okay, so what kind of specific skills?
Things like critical thinking,
Yeah.
problem solving, communication,
Yeah.
collaboration, even ICT literacy.
So using technology effectively,
Right. And those are essential,
no matter what you do.
regardless of your field.
So building a case for a more holistic approach,
Yeah.
adaptable self-directed learners.
That's a key takeaway here.
Yeah.
But what's really fascinating is how these documents connect,
Yeah.
creating a framework to support students.
In a constantly changing world,
Exactly.
they're providing a roadmap,
Right.
not just for a career, but for life.
Exactly. They're saying, look, the traditional model,
Yeah.
it's not enough anymore.
Right.
We need to equip students with the skills and mindset
To thrive in a world where they might have 10 jobs or more.
by middle age.
That's a thought-provoking statement.
It is.
But how do we put this framework into practice?
That's a great question.
What does it look like?
And one we'll delve into further.
Okay.
But before we do, there's another
Yeah.
fascinating aspect of Pathway Projects.
Okay.
I think you'll really like it.
Tell me.
Genius Hour.
I heard of that.
Dedicated time
Uh-huh.
to explore passions, dive into projects,
Okay.
ignite their curiosity.
So instead of just curriculum,
Yeah,
they get to pursue what excites them.
exactly. Imagine a student passionate about coding,
Great.
spending an hour a week developing an app.
Yeah, or a budding artist creating a mural.
It's a really cool concept.
It is. But how do we make sure it
Yeah.
doesn't just become an extra activity?
Right.
How do we integrate it
Yeah.
into the learning experience?
That's an important question,
Yeah.
and one that a lot of educators are grappling with.
It's not enough to just carve out the time
You have to create the right structures and support systems.
to make sure Genius Hour is transformative.
It is, and that's a discussion
Okay.
for another time, maybe part 2.
That sounds like a plan.
Okay.
But before we move on, I
Yeah.
want to make sure we capture what we've talked about.
Great idea. It's important to synthesize
Yeah.
before we move on.
Okay, so let's do that.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've talked about these documents, equipping students with the skills
Right.
and the mindset to thrive
Yeah,
in this changing world.
absolutely. But it's one thing to talk about it.
Right.
It's another to put it into practice.
So let's get practical.
Okay.
How can schools foster this self-directed?
Well, one approach that I see
Yeah.
that comes up in these documents is project-based learning.
Project-based learning.
Yeah.
Okay, so not a new concept. Not new.
But it aligns with what we're talking about.
Right. So instead of passively absorbing information,
Yeah.
students are actively engaged in solving problems.
So more engaging than just reading.
Way more engaging.
Can you give me an example?
Like imagine a group of high school students
Okay.
tasked with designing a sustainable garden for their school.
Okay.
They have to research plants.
Yep.
They've got to consider the local climate,
Uh-huh.
develop a budget,
Oh.
even present their proposal to the school board.
So it's hands-on.
Hands-on,
Along with
interdisciplinary,
anxiety.
relevant to their lives.
Exactly.
And it touches on all those skills we've been talking about.
It does critical thinking, problem solving,
Communication.
collaboration.
What about Genius Hour?
Genius Hour is another powerful tool.
But I'm still thinking about
Yeah.
how to make sure it's not just
Right.
an extra activity.
That's a valid concern.
Something that gets squeezed out.
It takes commitment from teachers
Mhm.
and administrators
To prioritize it.
to prioritize Genius Hour.
So it's not just about the time.
No.
It's about the culture.
It's about creating that culture,
Okay. And providing the right support.
the right support and guidance.
Then teachers need to be equipped
Teachers need to be
to
equipped
facilitate.
to facilitate Genius Hour effectively.
So professional development is key here.
Professional development is absolutely
Yeah, it's
so.
a shift in mindset.
A shift in mindset for everyone.
So project-based learning, Genius Hour.
Right.
What other strategies?
Well, mentorship programs can be really valuable.
Mentorship.
Yeah, connecting students with professionals
Okay.
in their field of interest.
It's like giving them a window.
Yeah, a window into what their future could look like.
Okay.
And internships,
Internships.
job shadowing,
Yeah.
bridging that gap.
Bridging the gap between classroom and the real world.
These are all great ideas.
They are.
But what about equity and access?
That is a crucial question.
How do we make sure everyone has these opportunities?
Yeah.
And that's where educators and policymakers have a huge role to play.
So it's not just about creating the opportunities
It's about making sure they're accessible
to everyone.
to every student.
What about parents and families?
Parents and families play a vital role.
How can they help?
Well, they can start by having open conversations
Okay.
with their kids
About their interests.
about their interests, strengths, aspirations.
Communication is so important.
Communication is key.
And encouraging exploration.
Encouraging exploration is huge.
Like visiting colleges.
Visiting college campuses, attending career fairs,
Yeah.
even just researching different fields together.
Opening up the possibilities.
Opening up possibilities.
But we can't ignore the elephant in the room.
Right.
The workforce is changing.
Rapidly.
So what does this mean for students?
Well, one of the biggest takeaways is adaptability.
Adaptability.
Jobs of tomorrow might not even exist today.
So not just learning specific skills,
It's about developing a growth mindset
that ability to adapt.
to embrace change and continuously learn.
You got it.
And that brings us right back to
Self-directed learning.
self-directed learning. It's not just a nice to have.
It's a must-have
It's essential.
for the future of work.
I agree completely. When students take ownership of their learning, they become more resilient, adaptable, and successful.
So this has been really insightful.
It has been.
But before we wrap up part 2,
Yeah.
I want to talk about potential pitfalls.
Okay.
What do we need to watch out for?
One potential pitfall
Yeah.
is falling into the trap of replicating the old system
With new labels.
with new labels.
Right.
It's not enough to just call something project-based learning.
Right. We have to walk the walk.
We have to walk the walk,
Not just talk the talk.
not just talk the talk.
And another challenge is
Yeah.
making sure these initiatives
Yeah.
are implemented thoughtfully,
Thoughtfully.
sustainably.
Sustainably, it's not a quick fix.
It's a journey.
It's a journey, not a destination.
A journey that requires collaboration,
Elaborate.
innovation, and belief in the potential of every student.
I couldn't agree more.
So we've talked about a lot.
Mm.
Individualized learning plans,
Yeah,
purpose-driven education,
right.
self-directed skills.
These documents are really calling for a shift.
A big shift
Yeah,
in how we think about education.
but they're not just about education, are they?
That's what I've been thinking.
It's bigger than that.
They're about preparing for life.
In a world that's changing so fast.
Right. Like, it makes me think back to that statistic
Yeah.
about students having 10 jobs or more.
By the time they're 42,
It's almost a badge of honor now.
it's a sign that you're not afraid of change.
You're willing to evolve.
Embrace new things.
And it's like those specific skills.
From why Pathways supports our self-directed skills.
Yeah. Critical thinking,
Problem solving.
collaboration.
ICT literacy.
These are important.
Not just buzzwords. No, they're the foundation.
Yeah. For navigating this world.
Where change is the only constant.
And those skills are valuable everywhere.
Not just in the workplace.
Right. Like managing your finances.
Advocating for yourself.
Building relationships.
It's all about those self-directed skills.
So these documents are...
About empowering people.
Yeah. To take ownership.
Of their lives and their futures.
But are there any schools actually doing this?
There are lots of schools are moving toward project-based learning.
Okay.
Like imagine a group of students designing a community garden
A community garden.
to address food insecurity.
Wow.
They have to research plant varieties,
Okay.
soil conditions, budget,
Mm-hmm.
even get community support.
So learning by doing.
Applying knowledge in a meaningful way.
And Genius Hour.
Another great example
Giving students that time.
for their passions.
It's a completely different experience.
It fosters a love of learning.
That goes beyond the classroom.
But there are challenges
Right. We talked about professional development.
for teachers.
Creating that culture of self-directed learning.
Yeah, and making sure it's equitable.
For all students.
That's important.
It's complex.
It is, but the rewards are huge.
When we empower students
To become self-directed learners.
we're preparing them.
For life.
And that's why this conversation is so important.
It is. We're talking about a shift
In how we approach education.
that could transform lives.
And shape the future.
Absolutely.
So what's the one thing you want our listeners
To take away from this, these documents aren't just about education. They're about life.
Okay.
About equipping each of us
Yeah.
with the skills and mindset
To thrive.
in this changing world.
And how do we do that?
My question to you, listener, is this.
Okay.
Now that you have this roadmap,
Mm-hmm.
what steps will you take?
To personalize your path to success.
That's a good question.
It's about empowering you
To find your own answers.
to chart your own course.
That's what it's all about.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thanks for listening.